Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. Men who are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna, the deliverer from evils. Please repeat. Men who are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses, praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna, the deliverer from evils. Purport. The general mass of people, unless they are trained systematically for a higher standard of life in spiritual values, are no better than animals. And in this verse, they have particularly been put on the level of dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. Modern university education practically prepares one to acquire a doggish mentality with which to accept the service of a greater master. After finishing a so-called education, the so-called educated person move like dogs from door to door with applications for some service. And mostly they are driven away, informed of no vacancy. As dogs are negligible animals and serve the master faithfully for bits of bread, a man serves the master faithfully without sufficient rewards. Persons who have no discrimination in the matter of foodstuff and who eat all sorts of rubbish are compared to hogs. Hogs are very much attached to eating stools. So stool is a kind of foodstuff for a particular type of animal. And even stones are eatables for a particular type of animal or bird. But the human being is not meant for eating everything and anything. He is meant to eat grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, sugar, etc. Animal food is not meant for the human being. For chewing solid food, the human being has a particular type of teeth meant for cutting fruits and vegetables. The human being is endowed with 2 canine teeth as a concession for persons who will eat animal food at any cost. It is known to everyone that one man's food is another man's poison. Human beings are expected to accept the remnants of food offered to Lord Shri Krishna, and the Lord accepts foodstuff from the categories of leaves, flowers, fruits, etc. Bhagavad Gita 9:26. As prescribed by Vedic scriptures, no animal food is offered to the Lord. Therefore, a human being is meant to eat a particular type of food. He should not imitate the animals to derive so-called vitamin values. Therefore, a person who has no discrimination in regard to eating is compared to a hog. The camel is a kind of animal that takes pleasure in eating thorns. A person who wants to enjoy family life or the worldly life of so-called enjoyment is compared to the camel. Materialistic life is full of thorns, and so one should live only by the prescribed method of Vedic regulations just to make the best use of a bad bargain. Life in the material world is maintained by sucking one's own blood. The central point of attraction for material enjoyment is sex life. To enjoy sex life is to suck one's own blood, and there is not much more to be explained in this connection. The camel also sucks its own blood while chewing thorny twigs. The thorns the camel eats cut the tongue of the camel, and so blood begins to flow within the camel's mouth. The thorns mixed with fresh blood create a taste for the foolish camel, and so he enjoys the thorn-eating business with false pleasure. Similarly, the great business magnates, industrialists who work very hard to earn money by different ways and questionable means, eat the thorny results of their actions mixed with their own blood. Therefore, the Bhagavatam has situated these diseased fellows along with the camels. The ass is an animal who is celebrated as the greatest fool, even amongst the animals. The ass works very hard and carries burdens of the maximum weight without making profit for itself. Human life is meant for earning values. This life is called arthadam, or that which can deliver values. And what is the greatest value of life? It is to return home back to Godhead, as indicated in the Bhagavad Gita 8:15. One's selfishness must be aimed at the point of going back to Godhead. The ass does not know his self-interest, and it works very hard for others only. A person who works very hard for others only, forgetting his personal interests available in the human form of life, is compared to the ass. In the Brahma Vaivata Purana it is said, Asitim chaturas chaiva laksham stanjiva jatisu brahmadbi purushai prapyam manusyam janma praryayat tadapi abalatam jataha tesham atma bhimaninam varakanam anasritya govinda charanadvayam. The human life is so important that even the demigods in the higher planets sometimes aspire for a human body on this earth, because in the human body only can one easily go back to Godhead. In spite of having obtained such an important body, if one does not re-establish his lost eternal relation with Govinda, Lord Krishna, he is certainly a fool who has forgotten his self-interest. This human form of material body is obtained by a gradual process of evolution to one body after another in the cycle of 8.4 million varieties of life. And the poor man, forgetting this importance for his own interest, involves himself in so many illusory engagements for uplifting the position of others as a leader of political emancipation and economic development. There is no harm in trying for political emancipation or economic development, but one should not forget the real aim of life. All such philanthropic activities must be dovetailed to returning to Godhead. One who does not know this is compared to the ass who works only for others without their or his own welfare in mind. The ass is generally engaged by the washerman, whose social position is not very respectable. And the special qualification of the ass is that it is very much accustomed to being kicked by the opposite sex. When the ass begs for sexual intercourse, he is kicked by the fair sex. Yet he still follows the female for such sexual pleasure. A hen-pecked man is compared, therefore, to the ass. The general mass of people work very hard, especially in the age of Kali. In this age, the human being is actually engaged in the work of an ass, carrying heavy burdens and driving tela and rickshaw. The so-called advancement of human civilization has engaged a human being in the work of an ass. The laborers in great factories and workshops are also engaged in such burdensome work. And after working hard during the day, the poor laborer has to be again kicked by the fair sex, not only for sex enjoyment, but also for so many household affairs. So Srimad Bhagavatam's categorization of the common man with any spiritual enlightenment into the society of dogs, hogs, camels and asses is not at all an exaggeration. The leaders of such ignorant masses of people may feel very proud of being adored by such a number of dogs and hogs, but that is not very flattering. The Bhagavatam openly declares that although a person may be a great leader of such dogs and hogs, disguised as men, if he has no taste for being enlightened in the science of Krishna, such a leader is also an animal and nothing more. He may be designated as powerful, strong animal, or a big animal, but in the estimation of Srimad Bhagavatam, he is never given a place in the category of men on account of his atheistic temperament. Or, in other words, such godless leaders of dogs and hog-like men are bigger animals with qualities of animals in greater proportion. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayang Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyaevacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hari Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvi Navaditamastu Vidvisavahai Om Shanti 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 Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langaite Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Kantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Heavy hitting. Sukadeva Goswami appears in this second canto. Innocent looking, 16-year-old. So innocent, he has no bodily concept of life. He's walking. As the Bhagavatam says, he's dressed by the directions. It's a poetry of Bhagavatam to say the man is naked. He's walking away, and his father, the great Veda Vyas, Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas, compiler of Vedic literature, is running behind him. Putra, Putra, Putra. And it said only the trees were responding, simply echoing, Putra, Putra, Putra. He doesn't want to be involved with material existence. He goes past the place, the ladies are bathing. They saw him, paid him no mind. Vyasadeva comes after him, they see him, they become embarrassed. They cover themselves. And Vyasadeva, because his intelligence is as broad as the sky, he's the literary incarnation of God. He's not just some old Baba in a village. He's called Bhagavan Vyasadeva. So he noted, what is this? My son, 16-year-old, handsome, strong, in the prime of youth, walk past here naked, all you ladies didn't respond. And I'm as old as your grandfather. And I come and you all covering up, embarrassed. What is this? So the ladies explained that in this young man, there is no distinction of male or female. There is no bodily concept in his gaze. That means he's tuned out of this mode of nature radio station. The channel is not catching. But you, because you are involved somehow in the Grihastha life, you have this distinction in your consciousness. And so they could pick that up. So when we hear purity is the force, it's definitely a force and energy that can even be perceived. These ladies could understand this man is not here, not interested in this. So such an innocent looking personality, free from any bodily concept of life, absorbed in Brahman consciousness. How to get him interested? Vyasadeva had to conjure up a plan. He's my son, he's running away from home. He has to come back. We have to perform some rituals for him. But because he's not attracted by anything here in this material world, then Vyasadeva had to think, what else can attract such a person? We hear in the Atmaram verse, Atmarama Chamuna yo nikranta purukrame kuvantya haitu kim bhakti itam bhuta guno hari, that Krishna, because he possesses transcendental qualities, he is able to attract even those sages, those munis, rishis who are Atmarama. They're self-satisfied by dint of transcending the modes of nature. There is no carrot you can dangle before them that it will interest them. They're done with the offering of Bhoga in this material world. They are attracted by Brahman. Yet, the transcendental qualities, glories of Krishna also capture their consciousness. So Bhagavatam, well, people may doubt this. It's a nice verse. You just want to hype up Krishna, Give us concrete examples. So we hear of the 4 Kumars. They are completely liberated. Look at their liberation. They chose not to grow past the age of 5 years old. Because they understood, once the body goes further than that, then certain instincts will kick in. And then we will be battling this machine which is trying to pull us in certain directions. So they remained 5-year-old boys. They also move around, clothed by the 10 directions. And they absorbed also in the Brahman conception of the Lord, fully satisfied. Yet we hear that when they went to Vaikuntha, of course they were stopped at the 7th gate by the 2 giant Vijay servants. But when the Lord appeared and they offered obeisances at his feet, then they got a whiff of the smell of the tulsi that is there and the kumkum on the feet of the Lord. And all of a sudden they were, as today they said, they were triggered. They were shocked. What is this? We are never attracted to any outside stimulation. We are absorbed internally. But what they had come in contact with was nothing of this material nature. It was beyond even Brahman. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti shabdete. So the absolute truth is understood. It is non-dual. But it is understood in these categories. Brahman, the all-pervading energy of the Lord. All-accommodating. Paramatma, it is localized in every living being's heart. All-permeating. and Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, they're all loving, they're all attractive. And contact with the all attractive means just that. All attractive. Nobody is spared. Nobody will not be attracted. So Vyasadeva, to get his son back, he instructed his disciples Srimad Bhagavatam, gave them the verses to chant, and they would go where Sukadeva was hanging out in his self-realized position, and they were chanting the glories of Krishna. When he heard those glories of Krishna, again, his consciousness is like hooked, he's attracted. He wants to know, who is this person that they're glorifying? And so he starts to follow these disciples. Hey, tell me more about this person. And they would not say anything. They're simply walking, going all the way back to the ashram of Vyasadeva. So in this way, he was brought back home so that he could be instructed in the transcendental knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is Paramahansa scripture. It is for those souls that are beyond the material nature. At the same time, even though it is relishable for the Paramahansas, it's also appealing to any person, sadhaka, because Krishna, being all attractive, attracts the living beings. So this Sukadeva Goswami is giving us such clear vision of what is going on in this material nature. And he is categorizing here 4 kinds of men. Men being mankind. But specifically, Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken at the bank of the Ganga to males. And therefore, when we hear that stress on the men, and they are being warned and educated, so those who hear later on may feel, what a chauvinistic scripture. Oh my God. This is like women bashing religion. No. We said these are paramahansas, transcendentalists. They are not interested so much in the details of our politics, be it identity politics or gender politics. No. Their interest is in delivering the conditioned souls from the meshes of Maya. Therefore, they are addressing the subject of illusion so that the spirit soul who thinks, I'm man, I'm woman, I'm brown, I'm black, I'm yellow, can snap out of this. Jeev jago, gora chandra boli. Kotanidra jawamaya pisha chirakoli. Wake up, sleeping soul. So it's pushing against our conception of life. And I'm sure as you were hearing Srila Prabhupada's purport, right? There's a lot of some whips. Huh? Even though we say Jai Prabhupada regularly, yes, sometimes when he whips it, I feel like, Prabhupada, come on, take it easy. Relax, we're in Germany here. People are going to misunderstand you. They're going to cancel you. What is this? Yes, we are identifying with this Kali Yuga. We're identifying with the land, the culture. We're identifying with materialistic conceptions. And the Bhagavatam, in being a lover, it is Krishna himself, Supreme Father, loves his children. Therefore, he will not spare us a little bit of stick if it will wake us up to the right path. So Shuka, he is speaking about Swavit Varahasta Karai. Men who are like dogs. Srila Prabhupada is famous for having addressed one hippie. Giriraj Maharaj discusses somehow or the other, he had this conception that he's God. And he had on his wall a poster, I am God. But he wasn't fully clear about how he should enjoy his position of being God. And he was interested to hear further about how he was God. Somehow or the other, he came to a program, Srila Prabhupada was speaking. During that class, one of the hippies got up and he was walking towards the asana. And in a loud voice declared, I am God! And Goswami Swami at the time is sitting there watching this whole drama. Wow. But this man he's right, isn't he? What will the Swami say? And Prabhupada gave in same measure, no, you are not God, you are dog. And Goswami Swami, he felt the force of those words, just almost like he was hit out of his body straight back into his room to see his poster. That no, this was not spelt right. Not God, but dog. So that was Srila Prabhupada's mercy upon us and the world, which is infected, it is said, by Mayavad and Shunyavad. Therefore Prabhupada is glorified as Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Not just the Western world, because everything has become the Western world. By dint of propaganda, internet, TV, everybody is consuming the same philosophy of eat, marry, eat, drink, and be merry. Beg, borrow, steal, somehow enjoy your senses. So he's delivering everyone from this impersonalism and voidism. So his analysis, not God, but dog. So what is a dog famous for?
Like waiting, patient, like being very attentive to the owner, like just sitting, just like.
He's like a big suck up, dog. Even he get whacked, and then 10 seconds later he's back. He's trying to get into good books. His interest is shelter and food and whatever affections the master puts upon him. So when we hear about the dog's condition being of suffering, in the Western countries, it's like, what are you talking about? Dogs suffering? They got manicure and pedicure, and they go get shampooed. Every morning, the man thinks I'm walking my dog, but the dog has got his tail like this, thinking I'm walking my man. When they pass stool, what does the civilized man do? Very attentive. In fact, he knows, he can see, oh, master is about to pass stool. Let me get my packet ready so that I can collect it and keep it secure. I will dispose of it later on. Sometimes there's no bin. It's got this pack here with the worm. Yes, this is civilization. No, this is regressive life. Prabhupada would say, killing the cow and keeping the dog in the house. The cow is giving everything auspicious. Milk, you get butter, yogurt, ghee. You can make so many preparations. Even in her death, you make your mridangas, you get your horns, you can make your bugles and buttons. She is the abode of all demigods. But so-called civilization, men who are like dogs, they keep slaughterhouses and daily butcher such a mother. And they sit at restaurants and consider themselves civilized, eating the flesh of their own mother and father. But the dog, oh, man's best friend, because he's such a sycophant, always sucking up, always smelling you. So from the dog, those who will see this talk about dog, what a dog hater, this rascal. I hate these brahmacharis like this, always talking too strong. No, we're not hating the jiva who has somehow gotten the body of a dog. We are learning from the behavior of a dog. Because in some cases we hear the glory of dog's behavior. He is very chaste. He's very tolerant. He's dedicated to his master. But here the lesson is not in that department. Today we're learning from his weaknesses. So what do human dogs do? Srila Prabhupada. This purport is like, it should be laminated and framed. Just so that when we start to be enamored by our lives in this world, we can check back. Are we becoming doggish? Have I become such a person? So here it is linked with the education system. Oh, the education system. The glorious education system. Glory, glory to the education system. We must become educated and more educated and most educated. But what is this education? Bhagavatam is analyzing. It is the perfect machine to create this doggish mentality. After being sucked dry of so much money, your time is controlled, when to be in class, and how many years of which version of syllabus you're drilled in some one particular dot of material existence, specialize you. Then they reward you with a piece of paper. It's got your name there. It's written in fancy lettering, and it's got a few small letters behind it. When you see that, if you get into ecstasy, just see, this is me, yeah? Once it says PhD, permanent head damage. Friends and relatives, they gather, throw a big party. But with that piece of paper, then one must go. And here Prabhupada is talking about door to door. So maybe you don't start there, you start at your computer. Right? Prepare CV. How I've served. How long I've served. And then you gather, please just recommend, I'm a good servant, I did well, everything is there. Then send. And then you wait. And sometimes you get response. Come on the 13th of September at 10 a.m. You get the 8 just to be in time. And we come to beg. This is what is, in essence. You paid so much money, you worked hard, you've got the paper, but still, you have to beg for employment. I work well under pressure. I'm a team player. I'm inspired by this work. I'm passionate about. This is the begging language. Got your nice tribal wear, coat with the tie. You think you're very sophisticated in the tribe of Kali. And sometimes there's just something about you, maybe it's the wrong cologne. The people there just don't feel your energy. You've got all the proper qualifications. Yeah, we'll get back to you. Don't call us, we'll call you. So this is to break our pride. That when we are thinking we are making advancement, we're so educated in material affairs and we have our fancy clothing, we go to interviews, we're just beggars, glorified dogs, hoping to be taken in for some so-called service. So that is not where human life should be heading. So here we're pacifying. So because, it's too much on the one. No, education is needed. Because humanity has created a system. When you don't have this paper, then nobody is ready to exploit you to give you money at the end of the night. Nah, we don't want to exploit you. Go. So, you need that to stay connected to the machine so that you are qualified to owe for a car. And they look, how many people have you owed before? And have you been paying? They call it credit. You've got good credit. This man, he can owe very nicely. Then we can... They know that if you owe, then you will go back to work. You will not stop working because you're owing. So they've got you hooked in the machine. So we're practical. Our philosophy is not like foolishness that, we are into spiritual life now. Forget, I don't need this education, I don't need a job. No. Srila Prabhupada said, for our bhakti yoga, we could sit under a tree and chant Hare Krishna and be completely blissful and satisfied. But for the mentality of the man of Kali Yuga, we are building all these temples. Therefore, we seem to be begging people, you give us some money, take our book, give a little something. So we can create facility that the conditioned souls can appreciate, okay, nice temple, have a cushion, a microphone, that works. And therefore, willing to hear the message of Krishna. But the spiritual master, guru, means he's heavy, why? With knowledge. And heavy because he's cutting our illusion. He won't let us slip on the witch of Maya. The Pisachi is there sucking your blood, left, right, and center. And others, they see, wow, this man is really being sucked dry. They say, how are you? He say, I'm okay. The young say, how's it going, man? All good, man, all good. But Pisachi is sucking you. Guru will say, why are you rotting here? Come to the temple. Chant Hare Krishna, take prasadam. Go back to Krishna. So that is his qualification. That is his love. That he corrects us and helps us to see our actual situation. So next is the Hoggish mentality. Srila Prabhupada would say when he was speaking in the West, well, you may not have experience of the hog here in your countries, but in India, we have experience. The hogs, they patrol all the drains and they deal with, you can't even think of what they deal with. And they are chirpy and happy to deal with all this nonsense. They are nice and fat and thick. They are so content with life, they are reproducing like anything. Men in Kali Yuga are so stressed. Big check, he has to think, when should I start a family? Do I have enough money? The hog has no job, he's eating all sorts of stool, he is procreating like anything. He is happy in his filth. He eats whatever. So here we are being corrected in our attitude towards eating. That a human being who has no discrimination in the matter of eating, he eats whatever. He's no better than this hog. And when you eat, especially this flesh and blood, then the tongue, the belly, the genitals, one becomes pressured for sex desire. And then they add an extra ingredient. They call it drinks. We're having drinks. Liquid courage. Alcohol. Imagine this world without alcohol. Or people are just, they're like losing their minds. What? How dare you even suggest that no intoxication? What would we be? What would we do? It's a great band-aid to help people. Actually, people are struggling. They cannot cope with this misdirected service in the material world. And therefore, they're frustrated. And it's a deeper frustration because it's a spiritual frustration. They are also struggling in relationships. Some people, when they are sober, they cannot socialize. Therefore, they need all these intoxications to just kind of get off the default and then get into some made-up consciousness. So, eating for the human being has to be for liberation. Therefore, we are eating, everyone else is eating, but the difference is that we are eating food which is offered to the Supreme Lord to remove the karma, to imbue it with prema. Krishna, he eats, therefore Krishna has transcendental saliva. The gopis were complaining, just see, this bamboo, not even like human being, born of near some riverbank, dry, with holes. But he is relishing the nectar which is meant for us. It seems like they're envying the flute, but in fact they are glorifying the flute. He's always on the lips of Krishna. He's always tasting that ras that is meant for us, they are feeling. So when Krishna accepts the food, here he eats. So he's imbuing it with that very flavor of his transcendental lips. And that is why prasadam is special. Many people sometimes get the recipe books. They take it home and they try to... And they say, no, I've been cooking this food, but it doesn't taste like the one I had at your temple there. And they say, at the back, there's some prayers there. You have to, there's a particular drug that is put there. Bhakti. So Prabhupada is writing 926, Bhakti Amam, not Bhakti Amam, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam, Yome Bhakti Prayachiti. That when food, water, leaf, flowers offered with love, then Asnami Prayatatman. I accept that. So what makes it special is that Krishna has accepted it. He has imbued it with his very nature. So prasadam would cure humanity of this hoggish mentality of eating any and everything without discrimination. Then the camel. I just recently saw a camel up close. We were in Mombasa in Kenya. And we have a temple there, this hardly 1 kilometer from the beach in Nyali, the place is called. And part of the tourism and business making is a few camels that some men are keeping there, and kids and whoever, they can have a ride and they pay something. And the camel is in the category of cows, I think, always like chewing something. I think they also keep something and then they regurgitate to chew. Very interesting fellow when you look at him. He's so big, you think that, how is this small boy controlling him? But everything has to do tongue, belly. If you can control someone's eating, then they tend to be submissive. So the camel is famous for eating leaves of trees. But then because he's so tall, long neck, he also an animal of the desert. In the desert, there tends to be these plants that protect themselves with thorns so that no one eats all their leaves, so they've got thorns. So when the camel eats those leaves, sometimes he eats also the thorns. And when he chews, he thinks, wow, these leaves taste like extra delicious today. And he chews some more, but he's not aware that the leaves and the thorns have cut his own tongue. And because he's bleeding, this is the spice, some masala on the leaves. It's his own blood. He thinks it's a new flavor, and he keeps chewing and chewing. So Prabhupada is writing here about he's basically eating his own blood. So life in the material world is maintained by sucking one's own blood. So, I mean, you're sitting there, life is maintained, sucking on. I don't suck my own blood. Unless there's some vampires here, please don't confess. We may tell the police. Actually, I digress. My mother, I'll just tell you one little story. At some point, if you see this, it's true. She said to me, oh, I finally understood why you people don't eat onion and garlic. I said, why? He said, no, someone at church told me, because, vampires, they don't like garlic and stuff. And so, because you people have some bloodsuckers, you don't. I was looking like, really? I was so upset with her, Ma, why? If you want to know anything about Hare Krishna, ask me. I'm your son, I'm involved, I'll tell you. Vampires, that's why we don't onion and garlic. Come on. So here some people think, actually, we are like bloodsuckers. Can you imagine? We are complaining about eating cow and killing mosquitoes sometimes. They think we're sucking blood. And Hare Krishna. So here, Prabhupada is saying life in this world is maintained by sucking one's blood. And we are definitely saying, no, Prabhupada, we don't suck our own blood. So is Prabhupada lying? No. He says, the central point of attraction for material enjoyment is sex life. To enjoy sex life is to suck one's own blood. And there is not much more to be explained in this connection. Bas, you are all intelligent people. You'll figure it out. That is the camel, and that is the camel-like person who is caught up in sucking his own blood via the process of trying to enjoy sex life. It's a ndinkan dakini rakapagini palak rahuchuse. Bengali. They sound so nice. It just rolls off the tongue. But it's some nice assessment. Who is that person who will keep a tigress? Tigers, they eat men. Anyway, Prabhupada ended there, so we'll continue. The ass is an animal who is celebrated as the greatest fool. Just see the poetry there. He's celebrated. But what is he celebrated for? For being the greatest fool. Now put yourself in that position. Being celebrated, good or bad? It's good. We want to be celebrated. We're doing things. We want to be acknowledged. We want our accomplishment to be known. To be celebrated, not a bad thing. But to be celebrated for being not just a great fool or one of the fools. Already being a fool is not good. But one of the fools, it's like we're in it together, we're all fools. It's not so bad. But to be the greatest fool, that should be kept very quiet. It should not be celebrated. So the ass, he thinks that he is being celebrated for something amazing. What is his foolishness? There's grass everywhere Krishna has created. But the ass, he gets recruited by some man. Puts him in some kraal there. And then he puts some blinders. And he hooks him up to some contraption. And here the example is given of the Dobiwala, the washerman. So Prabhupada is saying in the context of India, Dobiwala, no one looks at him twice. It's not such a respectable position. But the ass, he's got some employment, he's got a master, The Dobiwala, he's washing everyone's clothes. So it's not so good in the Suchi side of life. Everyone's whatever, and you are there. But he needs money, he needs to maintain also family, all these things. So the ass, he's employed there and he gets loaded, because the Dobiwala is not so much money for washing clothes. So to increase some sort of profit, then he has to take so many clothes. And we know in India, cloth means, like the ladies, how long is a sari? 6 meters. Yeah. So it's a lot of cloth. And some will bring their dhoti, 4 meters or whatever it may be. So it piles up, it's a lot. And sometimes you can try and Google this, picture of a donkey, washerman's donkey. You will see that sometimes the guy is in the air. They put so much cloth around him, you cannot even see the donkey. You just see the cloth, like it's moving on its own. So when we see that, right, you think, wow, this donkey, wow, what a life. Bhagavatam is saying we should see ourselves. How do we become like this donkey? This culture of working hard. It's glorified, it's working hard. I know in America, you meet people who's got 2 or 3 jobs. I work hard and I play hard. It's working hard, and some of these jobs, I travel to Singapore. If you ever get a chance, the Vaishnavas there, they're from Bangladesh. The best devotees you'll ever encounter. You can experience the culture of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Their Vaishnav service. And I got there, I thought, why are they pretending? They always trying to serve, oh Prabhu, this. It felt so even uncomfortable. But it is coming from the core of their heart. They feel that their life is dash and dash. And you will feel nobody has ever loved you before you met these devotees. I felt like that. Like, I thought I had some loving relationships. Nobody has ever loved me before. And therefore, their taste for chanting Krishna's name is very amplified. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us, Chinadapi, Sunichena, Tarorapi, Sahistuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya, Sadahari. Because they are humble and tolerant, They don't look for respect for themselves. They are always trying to shower respect on someone. You're a rascal, I know myself, just rascal guy. And they, in fact, then they inspire you to become at least even 1/10 of the regard they are giving you. That Krishna, please help me, let me become worthy of even a bit of this honor, respect, and service. Because of this disposition, they are chanting of the kirtan. Such kirtan. And Bengalis, we had an experience this morning. Most of us are like, Hare Krishna. And then you get the word, Hare. The Bengalis, when you are done with your high pitch, they can go 5 times higher. And it's not like some chicken with his head cut off. Sweet, madhurya. They can sing. And so they sing, and every night we're wet, from the kirtans. They've got so many namahatas throughout Singapore, even just outside here. They put a mat and they have altar. Such bhakti. How did we get to Bengal and Singapore? They work hard. That's what we're thinking. They've gone there in the construction industry. So lots of apartments, Singapore. They're trying to pile up the people on that piece of land. So they work long hours, working very hard, but they play hard. And they're playing in Krishna's pastimes. They cook so much, perhaps. They chant and dance. And they've got such friendship, such camaraderie. So this working hard for Krishna, we go there and we go different places. I can tell you, we get the most donations from these devotees. Most of their hard-earned money also is being sent back to Bangladesh to their families. So, qualified in so many ways. In one sense, you would think, such heavy labor. But they are working for Guru and Krishna. And they are working for the Vaishnavas who are their family members. So their working hard actually is very fruitful because it is giving them liberation. It is connecting them to the service of Krishna. On the other hand, there are those who are working hard, accumulating so much. Mine. I just want to see the numbers go up. Yesterday, he's checking always his bank balance. This month now I have 30 more euros. Even the billionaires, X amount billion is still want more. And they will put them on podcasts and everyone will be listening how this ass got so much money. And he'll tell them, I was even sleeping in the factory. We have one such as Mr. Elon Musk. He's from South Africa, so I can tell him, I'm from South Africa. They were saying by 2025 or something, he'll be humanity's first trillionaire. It's no ecstasy, devotees? Haribol! No? He made first trillionaire, Haribol! What is his policy? He kept a mat in his own factories. He would even sleep there. So dedicated. Ekeha. Krishna says, become one-pointed in this endeavor of bhakti. But we turn it around and preach the same principle. Be focused on your material goals. Sleep is for losers. Yeah, people say this. Sleep is for losers. You snooze, you lose. Survival of the fittest. Only the strong survive. Nobody survives. 100% death rate. Nobody survives. What survives? This is the beginning of Atma Tattva. Krishna is teaching that in Bhagavad Gita. You rascal, you think you're this body. Never was there a time that you didn't exist, nor these kings, nor me. Never will there be a time where you cease to exist. Now that is what we should be focusing on. Not using all our energy, being employed by Dobiwalas in the name of IBM and Google, whatever fancy name we think it is, or I'm working for. We're talking about Lehman Brothers. I think maybe it didn't work out their business, you were saying?
I think they broke up. I'm not sure.
So many companies. Right after we have begged, we heard about the dog and his... And then you come in and immediately, you can see the transformation in people I talk to. The person will start to speak in terms of we. We deal with this and we do this, we are doing this. So identified with the company. Even at home, the men will complain. We're on the internet, we see these things. That the wife may not want to listen to the husband so much. But the boss, he's... they listen to the boss because boss means he gives the money. You, what boss, you? This mature life means we are being victimized. It's an embarrassment for the soul. We're eternal beings, parts and parcels of Krishna. And our glory and our true happiness and satisfaction is in serving Krishna. And Krishna has afforded this opportunity. Gauranga Mahaprabhu came. Yes, it's difficult material life, you're caught up. Take this Harinam. Enechia Sodi Maya Nasibaro Lagi. Harinama Maha Mantra, Lautumi Magi. Simple, take joyous, singing, same song. You don't even have to remember. What's the song again? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today, tomorrow, next year, even you travel to Spain, they're still chanting same mantra. You go to America, you come to Congo, they're chanting same mantra. Same tongue. If we are fortunate, we have a tongue that works, we have an ear that works. We should focus on this mission of life. Associating with Krishna. Chanting Hare Krishna means we are associating with Krishna. We have this attitude that comes from our struggle in material life, that even in associating with Krishna, we speak in this way. I have to chant my rounds, we're obligated. I still have to chant my rounds. You imagine your beloved, I have to go home and spend time with this man or this woman. You won't feel good, so I have to. I have to remember my kids. Dad, you don't just remember us. I have to. No, it's an opportunity. It's a privilege. We have the honor to spend time with Krishna. Let's spend that time with Krishna. And the more we spend time with Krishna by chanting this holy name, the more we see, hey, I'm being exploited here. I'm actually the greatest fool. I'm being celebrated. Oh, good dog, good camel, good ass. So this is the mercy of the acharyas, that they are waking us up. Let us not be in illusion. So what is the mood of the devotee? The mood of the devotee that he is at the factory or at the office not because he thinks actually this is my work and this is what will make me happy and satisfied. He is on a mission like the Vanaras who were helping Lord Ram, they're going to find Sita to give her back to Ram. So we are going there to get Lakshmi, so we can engage Lakshmi in the service of Narayan. This is our business. Now even we go there, we get Lakshmi, and we want to be like the bee. They make so much honey in the honeycomb, they want to keep and keep, until they lock themselves in the honeycomb and drown and die. Isn't honey is nice? Very sweet. They say money is like honey. In fact, not like honey, sweeter than honey, brighter than sunshine. So if you were to be asked to choose, you have to drown, you are drowning. Would you like to drown in honey or drown in seawater? Honey. Any seawater or honey? Honey. Yes! Why must you drown? No drowning. We don't want to drown. But I know it came up as a trick, like 2 options. But spiritual life is telling us neither are options, this duality. There's another option, deathlessness. So no drowning, I'm drowning, but it tastes so good. Still you're drowning. So no drowning, transcending. So we are here, we do what we have to do, but we remember we are servants of Krishna. And let us be proud and determined and focused and excel in whatever we're doing, because we know it's our service. Ours is to push the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, push the mission of Krishna. Whatever we are getting, we are caretakers of, and we want to engage it in Krishna's service. The more we think we want to hold for ourselves, enjoy, this is our drowning. It may be sweet rice drowning, it may be like nimbu pani drowning, maybe like lassi drowning. We are drowning. But when it is offered for the service of Krishna, it is imbuing us with eternal existence and joy. So then we will not feel implicated, when we hear such a purport, because it is hitting us. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, preaching is like throwing a brick into a pack of dogs. The one that cries the loudest is the one that got hit. Because sometimes these words of Bhagavatam, and then just quietly you're sort of annoyed at the speaker, at the book. But when we feel we're hit, it means there is something we can correct there. We're getting the help. So it is mercy, it is love. It is the care of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we will just read again the shloka. Men who are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses, praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna, the deliverer from evils. So when you are amongst people who don't encourage us to hear and chant and remember about Krishna, then you can understand what company you are in. They will praise you when you do everything else besides this. Why? Why all this temple? You live far. It's expensive these days. Always going to temple. Use that money, come with us. Let's go and enjoy. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. So please forgive us if we have offended you in any way.